Hello and welcome to Hindi Reading Class 4F, and we will continue once again with aspiration. This will be the final class on aspiration. So let's go ahead and place your hand about 1 inch away from your mouth, and then say the following words. And as you say these words, think about what you feel on your hand when you say the J or G sounds. Jump, jump, Jill, Jeep, July, June, jail, jaw, rage, Roger. So what did you feel on your hand when you said the J or G? Now, it probably will differ from person to person, but most of these you should not really have felt much of anything. If you did take take note of when you felt it, in what context, what vowel sound came after, because that will help you to know how you're going to have to be careful when you're pronouncing Hindi words. Okay, so like we mentioned before in Hindi, we have this English J. Now, the reason I put English J here is because we have Spanish speakers that learn Hindi. And now, for Spanish speakers, J sound is not English J at all. It's more like H, right? So be careful about this. Spanish speakers, this is an English J. So you don't want to pronounce this like Spanish J. So this is English J with no air followed by a. In other words, ja, 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 ja. And then this is English J, but with air followed by a. Ja, 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 ja. So there should be a lot of air felt on your hand for this one. So let's practice hearing them. So the first one, ja, second, ja, ja. That was number two. Ja, that was number one. Ja, that was number one. Ja, that was number one. Ja, that was number two. Ja, that was number two. Ja, that was number one. Ja, that was number two. Ja, that was number one. Ja, that was number two. Ja, that was number one. Ja, that was number two. Ja, that was number one. Ja, that was number two. Ja, that was number one. 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 Ja, that was number two. 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 Ja, that was number one. Ja, that was number two. Ja, that was number one. Ja, that was number two. All right. So first one has no air. Second one, lots of air. So this is one of those where more often than not we don't really say cha in English more often than not for most people. And so maybe if you have problems saying that, you can probably start out by saying the sound like when you're sighing. Notice how your throat is fairly relaxed, the air comes out easily. And now try to say that at the exact same time as saying a J sound. So ja, 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 right? Ja, ja. And so if you can practice that, you should be able to get the sound, right? This has it. Okay, so here I would let you practice, and you can do that for homework in your spare time. And let's move on to the next slide. So how much of a difference does this really make? Once again, there is a difference. So Jan is a person. Jan is ringing. Suj is to swell. Suj to discern. Jal is an egg. Jal is pungent. Jal is water. Jal is warm. Jap is a prayer or a meditation. Chup is quickness. Jail is jail. Jail is to endure. Jalana is to ignite. Jalana to solder or cement. Jak is the guardian of treasure. Jak is an obsession. Jakuri is full tight. Jakuri is a milking pot. Julna is to be joined. Julna is to swing or to sway. Jail, we already talked about that one. And jail. Jukana is to cause to be weighed. And Chukana is to cause to bend down. Joli is a partner. And Joli is a sack or wallet. Jardna is to be to attach. And Jhardna is to be discharged or shed. That makes a pretty big difference. Jhardna to attach, Jhardna to be discharged or shed. So keep that in mind that this does make a big difference and changes the meaning of words. So here's the warning. You have two paths now in front of you. On the one path is the the path to salvation. And on the left hand, you have the path of treachery. Now you have to choose which one of these two paths you will take. First path, the people that say, you know what, I'm not going to use my hands. Forget my tutors. I'm not going to do it because I can do this on my own. As a matter of fact, if I can't hear it, it's not important. They'll understand what I'm saying, and I really just don't have time for that. That's way too hard for me. And the result is people who don't want to hear you, don't understand you, or have difficulty understanding you from time to time and all the time. And for those who just can't be bothered with the bad accent, they'll just say, shut up and speak English. Okay, so now the other path, there's the path to salvation, is correct aspiration. And you're going to use your hands. And probably for a very long time, when you practice Hindi to yourself, you're going to use your hands to make sure that you're saying it right. And if you don't say it right, you're going to go back and try to correct it. And so, what this will do is your Hindi will become easy to understand. And guess what? People will more easily understand what you're saying, right? Your hands is very important. So, the result, wow, people are impressed. Your Hindi is clear. And even best of all is that you will get to the point where you will talk to people in Hindi and they won't even flinch. They won't be like, oh, wow, you're practicing great. They won't, no, they'll just listen to you and they'll respond. And that's what you want. So for homework, practice the j sound with your hand an inch from your mouth until you can consistently say it while filling air. Now, once you can do that, try to alternate between ja and cha. Ja, 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 ja. So you should feel it and hear it. Now, once you've done that, to practice saying them again, but listen for the difference. Ja, 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 ja. And of course, listen to as much Hindi as possible and see if you can tell when people are saying ja and when they're saying ja. And once again, writing practice is always good. So if you can write these letters at least 100 times, and every time you write them, pronounce them. And that way you'll remember the symbol with the sound it goes with. Thank Thank you very much for joining us.